Control over Venezuela. A strike on China's nerve. Trump's real game is not just oil. It goes far beyond that. If anyone saw the beginning of the new year in the most frightening way, it was those who closely watch global geopolitics. January 3rd, 2026. Early in the morning, a news report came in, and within minutes, the world's newsrooms, social media, war rooms, and stock markets were asking the same question. Did the United States really capture Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro? Images emerged. Handcuffs, heavy security, sometimes blindfolded eyes. And suddenly, the world was reminded of the images from 2003, when Iraq's former President Saddam Hussein was pulled out of a dark pit. The only difference was that this was not the Middle East. This was Latin America. And the question was not just what happened to Maduro. The real question was why Trump made this move. If you think this was done to save Venezuela's poor and troubled people, stop right there. Because Donald Trump never made such a claim. He did not talk about democracy in grand terms. He did not invoke human rights. He spoke plainly about oil. He openly said how American companies would extract Venezuela's oil and sell it in the international market. But the story does not end here. Because if this were only an oil game, this news would not have been so explosive. This game goes far beyond that, much further. Venezuela. A country that was once counted among the richest in the world. It was called the Saudi Arabia of Latin America, where people would fly to Miami for shopping on weekends, where American cars shone on the roads, where governments distributed subsidies using oil money and people felt secure. And today that same country is standing in line for a loaf of bread. Hospitals have no medicines. Schools are closed. Out of a population of 70 million, nearly 7 million people have fled the country. Nicolás Maduro had become the face of this destruction. But was his failure alone the reason for his arrest? Or was this a pawn in a much larger geopolitical chess game? Donald Trump does not play on emotions. He plays directly on power and control. His question is not who is good or bad. His question is, who holds control? And this is where the real face of the story emerges. Because Venezuela had gradually gone into China's hands. Over the past few years, China quietly but very firmly established its grip in Venezuela. When the United States imposed strict sanctions on Venezuela, China opened the door. It provided loans, built infrastructure, bought oil. Data shows that in 2025, China was buying about 400,000 barrels of Venezuelan crude oil per day, more than half of the country's total oil exports. This meant one thing clearly. Venezuela had become a crucial part of China's energy security, and Washington did not like this at all. Trump's thinking is very clear. The Western Hemisphere, meaning North and South America, is America's sphere of influence. Its backyard. But over the past decade, China had quietly infiltrated this backyard. Ports, roads, mines, oil wells, Chinese companies everywhere. For Trump, this was a direct challenge. And by the end of 2025, when he implemented a new national security strategy, the picture became absolutely clear. America would no longer just defend, it would launch direct attacks. This policy was informally called the Trump corollary. Its meaning was clear. In Latin America, any government that stood with China or Russia that challenged the dollar would not be tolerated by the United States. Venezuela fit this definition perfectly. Maduro openly stood in the China-Russia camp. He talked about accepting Chinese yuan and Russian rubles instead of the dollar in exchange for oil. There was even intense discussion about Venezuela joining the BRICS group. The dollar is not just a currency. The dollar is the backbone of America's global power. The world's oil trade happens in dollars, what is called the petrodollar system. If a major oil-producing country like Venezuela moves away from the dollar, it does not remain just one country's decision. It becomes a precedent. Tomorrow, Iran, Russia, Africa, and many countries in Latin America could follow the same path. And that was the line Trump did not want crossed at any cost. But there is another layer to the story. And that layer is artificial intelligence and critical minerals. In today's world, power does not come from oil alone. Power comes from data, from chips, from magnets, from rare earth minerals, AI electric vehicles, missile systems, satellites. Everything depends on these minerals. And in this game, the United States was falling behind. China controls about 85% of the world's rare earth processing. In 2025, when China restricted exports of these minerals, panic spread in the United States. That was when Washington realized that it may have plenty of oil, but it has limited resources needed to fight the wars of the future. Venezuela is not a lithium superpower, but it has minerals like gold, bauxite, nickel, and coltan. These are the same minerals used in the electronics and defense industries. These minerals are mainly located in an area called the Orinoco Mining Arc, a dense jungle, controlled by illegal networks and armed groups. Mining there is risky. It is expensive. But in geopolitics, control often matters more than profit. This is why Trump was not joking when he talked about buying Greenland. Beneath Greenland lies a treasure of rare minerals. Preventing China from gaining control of ports along the Panama Canal was also part of this strategy. And action against Venezuela was the next link in that chain. The message was clear. There is no place for China in the Western Hemisphere. Removing Maduro was not just about toppling a government. It was a warning. Cuba, Nicaragua, Bolivia. Everyone understood which way the wind was blowing. And China also received a clear message. Play in Asia and Africa, but not in America's backyard. Now the question is what impact this will have. China's energy security will come under pressure. The expansion of platforms like BRICS will slow down. Voices rising against the dollar will grow quieter. And every government in Latin America will be forced to rethink its policies. But in this entire story, the greatest loss will once again be suffered by the one who is never really asked. The people of Venezuela. Power changed. Flags changed. Alliances changed. But the life of the common citizen is still hanging in uncertainty. The question is whether this move by Trump will stabilize Venezuela, or whether the country will become a battlefield for an indirect war between the United States and China. The beginning of 2026 has made one thing clear. The world is no longer in a post-pandemic phase, but in a post-illusion era. The romantic dream of globalization is over. Raw power has returned. Army, currency, minerals, energy. Everything has become a weapon. And those who thought that the uncertainties of 2025 were behind them have now realized that the real storm has only just begun. Venezuela is not just a country. It is a warning. A reminder that when big players play chess, the pawns are often ordinary people. And the move Trump has made will not remain limited to Caracas or Beijing. Its impact will be felt in Delhi, Moscow, Riyadh and Brasilia as well. Because this is not just a fight over oil. This is a fight over control. A fight to decide the direction of the future. And in this fight, one thing is certain. 2026 will show the world something we may not yet be prepared for.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.